Well, you find out now here in chapter 6 that the work goes on, and these people are encouraged to continue the work. And it's quite interesting that there has always been a great deal made of the position of God's people and the condition of God's people. And those two things are quite separate, by the way. One is the condition, that's one thing, and the position, that's something else. Now, these people positionally were in the very place God wanted them to be, back in the land. That was the decree made. God had decreed this, and Cyrus acknowledged that he was doing it at the command of God. So these people are in the position where God wanted them to be. But my friend, their condition is not so good. They're discouraged. And they could walk away from it and do it very easily, and they were about to do that. And now God raises up these prophets to encourage them, you see. It's one thing to talk in such a manner that we get our position and our condition mixed up. It's one thing to say, "Safe am I, safe am I." Well, yes, if you're in Christ, you're safe, and that's your position. But very candidly, how's your condition? You discouraged saint? You mean that you're anchored in Christ, you have a sure salvation, and you're discouraged? You want to give up? You want to quit? You want to walk away from all of it? Well, my friend, may I say to you, your condition's bad. Your position is good. And that was the state of these folk here. Now, the very interesting thing is, God's with His people. His will's going to be done. And we find here that something was discovered. The enemy, really, this was a case of his foot getting in his mouth. He should have kept quiet. Because here's what happened. Chapter 6 now. Then Darius the king made a decree, and search was made in the house of the rolls where the treasures were laid up in Babylon. They went out and dug up the old archives that were covered with dust, way back down in the basement somewhere. And there was found at Achmetha in the palace, that is in the province of the Medes, a roll. And therein was a record thus written: in the first year of Cyrus, the king, the same Cyrus, the king made a decree concerning the house of God at Jerusalem. Let the house be builded, the place where they offered sacrifices. Let the foundations thereof be strongly laid, the height thereof, and so on and so on. And we find here, also let the golden and silver vessels of the house of God, which Nebuchadnezzar took forth. And they found it all there, you see. And all of this was now found by Darius. In other words, he never would have known about this if the enemy hadn't mentioned it. And the enemy made a real blunder here for the very simple reason he didn't believe there was a decree like that.